All right, Coach Roberts, first Ironman in the books for you, and you and I've talked. You're from Washington, actually Idaho, Washington border, Spokane,
Yes.
and you talk Tri-State. That's kind of the tournament you were raised on, the big tournament you were raised on. You get to see one of the big mega tournaments. What were your thoughts on Ironman?
Oh, it was everything I thought it would be and more. Great talent, depth, a lot of hard-fought matches. Get a chance to see kind of what guys are made of, especially in tough matches. How they wrestle in tough matches, how some of them bounce back after getting beat, a tough loss, how they come back, to get third in the placing matches. Just really, really great wrestling.
And, when we talk about, guys, there's some adversity in that gym today.
Oh, heck yeah.
I'm looking at some guys who are Fargo champs who haven't lost 2 matches in a row in their life, maybe.
Yeah.
They're losing 2 matches in a row today. They're having to come back to fight for 5th place at the Ironman. In looking at that, what's that say about the character of a kid? They lose 2 tough matches in a row. They lose in the semis. They lose in that Conti quarter or Conti semi, and then they got to come back for 5th.
Well,
see a guy take 5th. What's that like to you?
Yeah, to me, it's like that's what. For most people, it's going to be like in college wrestling and Division I wrestling. Not that you don't aspire and go out to win every match, but at some point you might drop one or 2. And to me, some of those guys that came back after that to take 3rd or to take 5th, that's important to look at. Sometimes you got to have a short memory, and your goal is always to win. Your goal is always to win until something happens, until something goes wrong, and then it's got to be to get 3rd. So, for me, you saw a lot of guys with some grit and a lot of hustle out there.
You guys, I think the furthest east you have a guy on the team is Iowa with Hathaway, maybe. I think he's the furthest east you got. But, getting out here east, getting the brand out here, and getting some eastern guys, getting some Jersey, Ohio, PA, Indiana, Michigan, Illinois type guys. What would that be like, and what would that do for the program for you guys personally?
I think it would do a couple things. I think, number one, I think the style out here, you got guys that are real good on the mat, which you have to be in Division I wrestling right now if you want to be competitive. Here, there's a little bit more of I would say, emphasis, or just the way the matches go. That's important out here. I think that makes you a little bit more college ready. And 2, is you want to recruit guys and fill your room with guys that are used to being in tough matches. It's when you have to go out and win a tough match, having the presence of mind and the mental toughness to bounce back from something going wrong, it's a big deal. So I like to see the guys that are battle tested.
When we look at, you and I were talking about Western guys, and California has a great presence here at the tournament, obviously. And looking at it, they had a champ here, and I was just real impressed. But you and I talk travel a lot, and travel's a big part of what you guys do at Oregon State. I talked to Ian.
Yeah.
He can't believe how much travel you guys done, and you haven't done that much travel yet.
Right.
Seeing a guy come out from the West Coast, win the tournament. When we talk about guys that come out and are competitive from California, we know that there's 2-3 flights. They're managing their weight. There's 2 days before. There a day after. What's that say to you about knowing guys that are used to the travel?
It's good, another positive. I mean, you just look at that's something you look at. You still got to look at the performance, but some of those guys that did take a couple plane flights to get here, cut weight in a hotel, not sleep in their own bed. It's just a little extra adversity. And adversity is a great thing. Most of the time, the more you can experience that and get through it, you're going to be better off for it. But it shows a little bit. Guys that aren't sleeping in their own bed, everything's not perfect, ideal, and they can still come here and strap it up and win this tournament or be right in there in the thick of it. It's a good thing. You
did some travel to get out here yourself, but in looking at it, the weather you get here, it's not beautiful. Those guys there's a team from San Diego.
Yeah.
The team goes to San Diego. When Poway comes from San Diego, it's got to be culture shock for them.
Yeah.
And you see guys who can still perform. What about guys who don't perform, and you're on them and you're recruiting them? How do you assess that?
I think you just got to overall look at the whole piece of the puzzle. Sometimes You know, there's like you come out here and there's guys you wanted to watch, and it was verified and validated by coming and watching them, and then maybe some other guys, you know, they didn't perform as well. But you just got to look at the whole picture. But you know, to me, consistency. You want to see them consistently competing and performing at a high level, because really when they get to Division I, that's, you know, you don't have a lot of easy nights. You got to be ready to wrestle all the time.
I want to talk to you about Drew Roberts. Drew Roberts, your son, ran today in the National Cross Country Championships for middle school.
Yeah.
He had a good day.
He did.
What did he run? 4,000 meters?
4,000 meters.
How fast did Drew Roberts run 4,000 meters today?
I think it was 12:40 something.
What was his PR before that?
I think 13:40 something.
So he dropped a minute.
Dropped about a minute.
We might have to check him for PEDs.
Yeah. If you looked at him, you know, there's none of that going on. You just got to look at him all arms and legs. But yeah, it was cool. I wish I could have been there, but this Ironman was the next best thing.
Is this the toughest high school tournament you've ever seen? Straight up honest. And I know you've seen some great tri-states where, you know, there's some of those Sandpoint teams and just really good guys from, you know, even Montana,
yeah, sure.
Washington, some of the best guys from Washington, Idaho. Is this the best high school tournament you've ever seen?
I would say so. I mean, in terms of the depth, and again, looking at across the weights, the spectrum, you know. I mean, growing up, and we had some great tournaments out there and some really good guys that went on to be great at the NCAA level and beyond. But you're talking about every weight class here had some good kids. I mean, shoot, we saw some guys that were #1 ranked in the country that would face some real adversity. I mean, a couple guys had to fight off their back. You know, one kid I think was in the 5th place match that I watched wrestle out at who's #1. It's a great wrestler. I mean, so I'd say overall, like the depth, and I love the atmosphere. You know, it was electric in there, packed in there. Some people I think don't like it as much, but I love it like that. Everybody down by the mat. I mean, to me, it's great.